Since ancient times, the month of May has stood as a threshold, a luminous crossing between what has withered and what dares to live again. It is not merely a change in season, but a return of breath to the earth itself. After the stillness of winter, the sudden emergence of blossoms feels almost miraculous, as though the land remembers something ancient and chooses once more to awaken. This renewal has long been honored through ritual, myth, and celebration, rooted in traditions that perceive nature not as inert matter, but as a living, conscious force, often envisioned as the Great Mother, the source from which all life flows and to which all life returns. The festivals of May arise from this understanding. They are not simply celebrations of warmth or fertility, but acknowledgments of a deeper rhythm, the cyclical dance of decline and return, death and rebirth, absence and abundance. In ancient cultures, these rites were woven into the very structure of existence. From the Greco-Roman world to the Celtic lands, May was a sacred time, a moment when the invisible forces that animate life were honored through offerings, processions, and symbolic acts that bridge the human and the divine. Among these traditions, the image of the flower holds particular power. Garlands, wreaths, and blossoms were not decorative. They were embodiments of life's continuity. To gather flowers was to gather fragments of vitality itself, to weave them into forms that symbolized connection between people, between seasons, between the seen and unseen realms. The Roman festival of Floralia, dedicated to the goddess of flowers, expressed this reverence through abundance, through color, fragrance, and the offering of living beauty back to the forces that sustain it. As these traditions spread across Europe, they intertwined with local customs, giving rise to practices that still echo today. The Maypole, perhaps the most enduring symbol of these rites, stands as both axis and invitation, a vertical link between earth and sky, adorned with ribbons that spiral and weave in intricate patterns. These movements are not random. They mirror the interlacing forces of creation itself, the weaving of life into form. In ancient times, such dances were performed around living trees, acknowledging the tree as a dwelling place of spirit, a bridge between worlds. This connection to trees reflects a broader belief once held across Europe, that the divine resided within nature, not apart from it. The oak, the ash, the hawthorn, each carried its own presence, its own intelligence. To bring branches into the village at dawn on May Day was not a simple act of decoration, but a ritual of renewal, a way of inviting the vitality of the wild into the human domain. Through dance, through movement, through shared celebration, communities align themselves with the forces of growth, ensuring not only physical fertility, but a deeper sense of belonging within the living world. Human figures, too, became symbols within these rites. The green man, the embodiment of the plant kingdom, walked among the people as a reminder that life itself wears many faces. The May Queen and her counterpart, often representing the union of feminine and masculine forces, carried the archetype of sacred union, the merging that gives rise to creation. These figures were not merely theatrical, they were living representations of the principles that sustain life, enacted in ritual so that the community might remember its place within this greater pattern. Among the Celts, this celebration took the form of Beltane, a festival of fire that marked the beginning of summer. Fire, in this context, was both literal and symbolic, a force of purification, protection, and transformation. Herds were driven between bonfires to ensure their vitality, and ashes were scattered upon the fields to bless the soil. These acts reveal a worldview in which human survival depended not only on labor, but on relationship with land, with spirit, with the unseen currents that shape the visible world. Even more enigmatic are the serpentine elements that appear in some May traditions, particularly in Southern Europe. The snake, long associated with the underworld, fertility, and hidden knowledge, embodies the mystery of life emerging from darkness. Its ability to shed its skin renders it a symbol of renewal, of continuity beyond apparent endings. To carry the snake, to honor it, is to acknowledge that life's deepest wisdom often lies beneath the surface, in places both feared and revered. Across all these variations, flowers and fire, trees and serpents, queens and green men, one theme remains constant. May is a celebration of connection. It binds the human to the natural, the visible to the invisible, the present moment to ancient memory. It reminds us that growth is not accidental, but part of a vast, repeating cycle that moves through all things. In the modern world, where such connections are often forgotten or reduced to aesthetic gestures, these traditions still whisper their original meaning. They invite us not just to observe the blooming of the earth, but to participate in it, to recognize that the same forces stirring in the soil are stirring within us. May is not only the return of life to the land, it is the return of life to the self, a quiet yet undeniable call to awaken, to expand, and to step once more into the fertile, unfolding rhythm of existence.